India Data Portal is, it started as an idea in sometime in 2018, and it is from the Bharati Institute of Public Policy from Indian School of Business. The project is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the idea behind the project is to create an open access portal for use of media persons and journalists who write on topics like agriculture, rural development, financial inclusion, and also at the same time helping other communities or other groups like researchers, student communities, policy writers, policy makers, to help them to while they're making policies or while they are writing their articles, to help them with supporting them with actual data. So rather than anecdotal, make it more data oriented. The India Data Portal, the URL is www.indiadataportal.com, and it's very easy. You just need to either you can create a simple username login, or you can log in with your existing Google account or a Facebook account. The portal has more than 40 data sets, which are agriculture related, socioeconomic data sets. So for example, we have agriculture census, we have data sets, information about Manrega, agriculture investments, we have socioeconomic data sets, we have general data sets, which are related to soil, rainfall, groundwater, temperature. And then recently also during the COVID-19 times, we also added something called high frequency indicators of India's economic recovery, which covers data sets on Aadhaar transactions, COVID-19 cases, digital payments, company registrations, GST, goods and services tax, Manrega employment, petroleum consumption, and so on and so forth. And all these data sets, they're available in more than 6 languages, vernacular languages, and they can also be made into more than 45 plus these interesting and amazing looking visualizations. And this is very easy, as my colleague will be talking to you about how to read the data sets and how to make interesting visualizations from them. These visualizations are easily downloadable, and you can straight away embed them into your story or into your articles. This slide really is about, before I move on to, we are also present on multiple social media channels. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we have our email ID publicly available, which is idp@isp.edu, where you can send in your suggestions, if you're interested in future collaborations, you can send in your ideas even after this call, and we'll be sharing these information with you throughout the portal today. And what I also wanted to wanted to take this opportunity right now to just quickly talk to you about the main assets of India Data Portal. So it is an open data platform, I mentioned. It has high frequency indicators. It is user-driven analysis and visualization of data. So you can pick the data sets which you want. You can compare the data sets which you would want to be compared, depending on what is the requirement. And then you can create easy visualizations. And we also have we regularly conduct training videos and visualizations workshops. If I talk to you about today's masterclass, the format is, after this introduction, my colleagues will take you through a brief familiarization step by step about the data sets which are available on India Data Portal. Then they will also talk about how to make visualizations with some examples. And then we will have a breakout room of 60 minutes. We will have you divided into 7 breakout rooms where you will have facilitators. And then together you can refer to news articles, which we will be sharing as we go along in the masterclass. And you'll be working with my colleagues in making visualizations and understanding how to read or navigate through the India Data Portal. After the breakout rooms, we will have a quick Q&A session where whatever questions you may have, you can ask those questions. And even during the session today, if you have any questions, please save them for the Q&A session, because it's likely that most of your questions might be answered during the breakout session itself when you have a hands-on experience of the portal. And then in the end, we will definitely have a group photograph, because it's not a physical space. So we will request you all to, in the end, to switch on your video cams, and we can do a virtual digital group photograph. So the other thing, health hygiene about was, do attend, because this is a masterclass, it's not a webinar. It is important that you attend the full duration of the masterclass to gain the certificate from Indian School of Business. It's a prestigious certificate, and we would like you to attend the entire duration of the masterclass to be able to get that certificate. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for joining in today. I would like to now invite my colleague Sridhar, who will talk to you about India Data Portal datasets. Sridhar, welcome, and over to you.
Thanks, Diti, and thanks to my colleague. Thanks to all the participants. I can start with the census 2011, and then we have most of the data. As you know, that India Data Portal has the agriculture, rural development, finance, and inclusion. So all the data sets I will just explain with starting with the census. Census to Gushan, can you go to the next slide? So census, as you know, that it provides all detailed information about demographic structure of the country. The data is available at state and district level, and most of the data you can find that all the age-wise and sex-wise population and this disaggregation and caste-wise disaggregation also available at the district level. And if you want to see that what the literacy rate of a particular district, even within the social group, that is this kind of information is also available in the census data. And more importantly, this data also it provides information about the occupation. And this occupation, whether the people which are mostly either agriculture or they employed in industry, or mostly basically the household industry, not the industry as a specific. And in how many months a particular year they are employed, this type of information also available in the census 2011 data. So next slide. So after the census, you can find agriculture census, and agriculture census about provides a detailed information about the agriculture farmers and their land holdings, their the type of farmers with respect to the land holdings. As you know, that the agriculture census, they divide the agriculture farmers with respect to their land holdings, either marginal, small, semi-medium, medium, and large, with respect to the land holding size. So this this detailed information is available at the state and district level, and with also the social status of these farmers. This information is also available at the district level. And next is that the type of crop production. Crop production, we have the classification subgroups and the groups: cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables. These are the groups of the crops that produced by the farmers with different sections, with different category of farmers. Then with the subgroups under the cereals, then you can see rice, wheat, and the pulses. There are also different type of pulses. So detailed information about the type of agricultural production and also the farmers with respect to their land holdings. This information are available at the agriculture census website. And another thing, the agriculture census data under the IDP portal. And also you can find the ownership data. Ownership data is also very important data, which you can find whether the farmer is owning the land himself or herself, or it has taken the land taken the land as the lease from others. So this information, detailed information, also available in the agriculture census. So this actually agriculture census, we have the two data sets with agriculture census, with the crop data, with the non-crop data. In the crop data, you can find a detailed information about the crop production. But in the non-crop data, actually, the crop level data is not, deposited in that particular box, in that particular section, but you can find the whole ownership data that is available. And also in the non-crop section, you can find the data with irrigation status, whether the irrigation is, the land is irrigated by canals, tanks, and different sources of irrigation. This information available at the agriculture non-crop data. Next slide. And after the ag census, detailed information of the farmers, their production, their irrigation status, you can find area, production, and yield. So area, the crop-wise production, and with different sections of the agriculture farmers, and total area devoted for the production of a particular crop, and the yield means, average, productivity of a particular land, or productivity in a particular, the data is available at the state and district level. You can find the yield or productivity, comparative analysis of productivity at a district level. This information, you can use this API data for this purpose. And this data is a time series data, 1997, 98 to 28 and 19. And if you want to see a trend analysis of the production yield, that is possible from the API data. Then after the API, then the cost of cultivation data. Cost of cultivation is a very important feature of the agriculture section, as you must be aware, because because cost is used for estimating the price. The price of a product is mostly mostly useful for the farmers, because without a proper price in the market, the farmers will not go for the production. So cost is an important element, as all of you know that cost is, yes, there is a proper accounting system by the government. CSCP is the accounting body who estimates the cost for every year. And this cost calculation is made public, and different types of cost also. You can see all the information are available in the IDP the data portal with the metadata file, and the cost cost A1, A2, which are the cost components. These are also widely discussed in the metadata information. And this cost is most of you know that the cost C2 and the revised C2 is the important element to estimate the price. So you can use the cost or the price of different crops from this section. So that's another one important feature of this data, that we are also adding the minimum support price of the various crops for the last 10 to 15 years. This data will also be available in the India data portal. So with a cost, with MSP, you can make a comparative analysis or different type of crop production. The next data is agriculture market. After the cost and price, then the production, the produce goes to market. The market, you can find that this is very important information about the people who are daily using the agriculture market, daily for the trading purpose, though who are using. And this data is also in the India data portal. The data is publicly available, and our team has made sincere effort to make it a mostly price stabilization with the monthly price, because agri-market data you can find the daily prices. So with the monthly price, average price for the last 10 to 15 years, you have monthly data. It is at the Mandi level. That is very effective information that can be available from the agri-market section. So we have the mostly more than 70 crops, and with their type of time of arrival, and at what quantity they arrive in the market, and what price, and when the market starts and when the market ends. The two different minimum and maximum price and the median prices, these information are mostly available for agri-market data. So you can find a detailed information about the crop data with respect to price, with the cost of cultivation. It's a whole matrix of information you can find from the all these ag sensors, cost of cultivation, APY, and market data. Then after that, just next slide. After that, we will go to the input survey. The input survey, mostly ag census, most of the information covered in the ag census. These are because ag census input survey. These are most of these two surveys are conducted 1 year difference. So in the input survey, the special characteristics is that what the farmers, which type of inputs for fertilizers they use to produce a particular crop. This same information with a different ag census. And the difference is that you are getting more information about the type of fertilizers that fertilizer, pesticide, seeds, and manures used by farmers to produce a particular crop. And another important characteristic of the input survey is that the credit. What type of credit that and from which sources, either public, commercial banks, or cooperative banks, or the regional rural banks. So these are type of credit and the sources of credit. This information available from the input survey, and this information is available at state and district level. We have the data at 2011-12. On the new data comes, then we are also updating that data in the IDP portal. Then the next is that we have the soil data. Soil data is very important feature of the whole agriculture production is concerned. So you have the soil at pH level with a different, whether the soil has the sand particles or silt particles, every features of the soil characteristics at available at the district level. So this is a very hard work, of course, obtaining the information, and this kind of information is mostly available from the soil section. And after the soil, then we have the rainfall data. The rainfall data is available at the state and district level, and we have the monthly rainfall data, average monthly rainfall data. And if you want to connect the rainfall with the production, then it is very useful that whether the rainfall deficit area where the production has some impact, this kind of analysis can be done with the rainfall and APY data. So this kind of this is a very informative for the purpose. So after various information about production, soil, rainfall, and you have the credit and deposit data. So that's this data is available from the regional RBI, Reserve Bank of India, their database, and this data is available at the state and district level. And we have the data at present 2016-17 and 17-18. So we are also trying to go back, also including more information about the credit and deposits with various sectors. This sector, credit offtake from various agriculture, industry, finance, trade, and transport operators. Agriculture is just one of the component, but we have, so when you find a time series data for, last 10-15 years about the bank credit to different sectors, that would be more useful for making, correlation with a credit with respect to the production or productivity. That information that can be more. That's why bank credit and deposit is quite important in this purpose. After the bank credit deposit, we have the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, and as you know that it was implemented in 2019 in December. And we have the data for the, it was quarterly information, how many farmers are benefited by the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi for the last, 1 year. And, it is 2,000 is provided to most of the Kisans who are registered under this, scheme. So how many beneficiaries under the scheme at the state and district level under the scheme? So that information you can find from the PM Kisan section. After the PM Kisan, we have the MG and REJ data at present. As all of you know that MG and REJ, they're very big information, and their MIS, MIS database is quite large. At present, we have only their investment in asset creation data, and this data is available at 2012 to 2018. We have the data at state and district level. So more and more data on MG and REJ also we are going to include in the future. After the MG and REJ, we have the data on fertilizer sales. Fertilizers with a different type of fertilizers which are used, and it is quite useful because fertilizer sales you can correlate to the fertilizer consumption in a particular district, and fertilizer consumption can be correlated with agriculture production and agriculture yield. So there's a whole large. If you want to prepare any article on fertilizer consumption with respect to production and yield, this kind of correlationship, this information can help you to build any correlationship with all type of information data sets that with relate to agriculture, production, and fertilizers. So after this, we have the data for the consumer price index for the different products, and they actually, we have the product group and not exactly the product with around. That more than 365 or 304 at present there is more than 400 articles have been used to prepare a consumer price index, and these are grouped: food, beverages, pan, tobacco, intoxicants. Different, we have 7 to 8 subgroups. So these groups are inflation is calculated under all these subgroups. This information is available at state level. So state level with a rural and urban bifurcation. And this, if this data is quite updated, we have the data till August 2020, and this is a time series data. You can find how the price is changing over the time for agriculture product or other products. This information can be available from the consumer price index. And after the consumer price index, we have the data for the from the national sample survey data. From the national sample survey data, we are in a progressive stage. We have included employment data, which are the PLFS periodic labor force data, and also we are including consumer price index. consumer expenditure data, which is used for estimating poverty. So you can have a good information about from this NSS data about employment, poverty. At the same time, you can find the structure of the households, the way they consume. Either they consume in the, and more another one section is there. We have the social consumption expenditure data with education and health. So private consumption expenditure on this education and health, this information is available and state and district level with a household level data. So this is quite effective. So all this data are present with the India data portal, and we are also including more and more data with many suggestions we received in the last masterclass. We are also taking up to that. So this is all to me, and thanks for giving your questions, and any questions, comments, then we will also take it up.
So let us work with Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and let me select those states to make this graph a little cluttered. So let me only select Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, and Haryana, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So let us work with these 7 states, and let's see how the graph comes up. So it's a multi-line chart. We get to see there's a, I mean, there is a clear trend that follows, uptrend that follows for the for all the years. And now, what if I want to dig down deeper and want to see at the district level analysis? So for district level analysis, we need to change our graphs, from state to district. And over here, we need to only select for one of the years. That is, instead of all these years, we need to select only 1 year to see a chloropleth map. So now I'm changing, deselecting all the years and selecting only 2016-17 for this. And I'm building my chart. So we could have been selected all the states, but I am interested right now in especially in Punjab, and we could see that in the regions of Punjab or the districts of Punjab has the highest production, 15.89 lakhs of tons in Punjab. So what happens if we in all the cases, in whichever parameter you select, these are the 5. A pictograph is only going to show you the topmost states or the districts of that particular parameter. Right now, I also want to see a lollipop diagram. So there are better ways to tweak around in the visualization option, and your lollipop diagram will show you the magic. So right now it is categorizing by district. What if I want to group them as with states and with, with the districts? So right now, now I want to group them with the states and districts. Now you can see the options for the visualizations are changing constantly with my choices that I am making. So now we have, it has, we get to see the stacked bar plot. We get to see the grouped bar plot. So you have to just move, scroll towards right to see the entire group bar plot. And for the lollipop diagram, it's most informative for this reason. One particular reason is now that you can see that which states these districts belong, and you can also rank them. I mean, you can also clearly distinguish the topmost producing districts of wheat. So currently, you can see the Punjab Punjab's Sangrur in Punjab has 1.5 million tons of wheat production, followed by Hardoi, Uttar Pradesh, which has 1.1 million tons of wheat production. There is a lot of difference between these two districts. Or yeah, there are a lot of difference between these districts if we compare the chart by district. Now, I also want to show you the box plot option. A box plot option gives many information actually. So what if we change change this box plot, it can become more informative if we follow the steps. So what if I want to see in what goes in the soil for producing wheat, what kind of fertilizer that they are using and all. So what if I go to COC dataset. COC dataset is the cost of cultivation data. This is a yearly data, as my colleague already has mentioned. And if you want to do a district level analysis for the inputs, you go to input survey data. So I go to visualize data directly, and I select fertilizer, material input of fertilizer. And I want to see for all the cereals, not for wheat only, but for all the cereals. And I want to select 1 year of time. I want to select Rajasthan, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, not Maharashtra, West Bengal. What else? Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing one more. And Haryana. No, Madhya Pradesh I've selected. Yeah. So now I do visualize. So now we see the stacked bar plot has come up very nicely and is clear and distinct since it's state level data. Now the box plot will actually give you a very nice information. So these lines are the median cost among these 7 states, actually 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 7 states, and clearly for wheat, Punjab is the topmost state which uses the maximum fertilizer for producing wheat, followed by Haryana, 201 kgs per hectare, Punjab 244 kgs per hectare, and the least least fertilizer was used by Madhya Pradesh, 116 kg per hectare. Also, we can see that wheat is actually been used. The fertilizer for wheat is actually been used by Punjab, and it is actually crossing all the other cereals fertilizer usage. So now we can now let us quickly go to one more thing that is I want to show you, which is the tea and coffee. So let us go to ag census data. Let me select total area. Let me select from the dimensions, let me select tea. And there is only 1 year data here. And let me select all the states. I'm doing a state level analysis here. So again, we get to see there are few options for the for the charts are coming. So like right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options. And over here you can download, I forgot to mention that you can download the chart or the graphs as PNG or as SVG format. You can rename your you can name your map, say like tea production, and save it. You can go to save. You can go to save and do my graphics. Sorry, in the graphics. I am almost over time actually. So in my graphics gallery, you can save it in your graphics gallery or into my graphics. So if you are in my graphics section, it will save the graph to your account, and if you are in graphic gallery, it will save to the public account or the public forum. Everyone will be able to view your chart. So what I was trying to do was not the chloroplet map, but a Sankey. Sankey gives a lot of information if we select the right options. So now on build your chart option, when you click on build your chart, you can select farm size category, social group, and farm size class. Yeah, social group and farm size class. So once we do visualize, you will get to see a tree map and a Sankey. So let me zoom a little bit. Yeah. So Sankey is informative in the sense that you can clearly see that tea is grown by Assam and West Bengal and followed by Tamil Nadu. They are produced by the large farm category of a land size of more than 20 hectares, and they are all the institutional farmers. So tea is grown by the tea estates or the tea boards, or they are all institutional farmers. They are, I mean, and there are very less number of hectares are used by the small, marginal, and medium category of farmers. Now, let me quickly compare tea with coffee, because those are of all our favorite drinks, especially in our winter mornings or evenings. So I have selected tea and coffee both, but I need to change one selection, that is crop type. So either you can select it by crops or by crop types. Until and unless you select the crop type, they will not be get differentiated. Now, one question one suggestion I would like to make to you, sorry, that is, if you select crop type, now they both comes under the same crop category. But if we select crops, they will get distinguished. Say it's just like cereals, paddy, wheat, all these cereals and maize and everything will come under same crop category, that is cereals. So we need to differentiate them by the crops, and I do visualize. So what I just wanted to tell you briefly is we can see that there is a clear distinction between tea and coffee, and it has also been, so there are very light beams of yellow yellow graphs, yellow lines that are merging towards the farm size class for less than 0.5 hectare to 10 to 20 hectares. So all these lines are merging towards the small, medium, and marginal farm size category. And that is why cultivation of coffee is a great balancer for economic activity, I mean, by the small farmers. Now, for so the clear distinction is between the farm size category. And the second thing, instead of selecting the total area, let me select unirrigated and irrigated area. It is going to complicate further, so let me drop farm size class and keep farm size category. And now we can see that coffee and tea both are grown into the unirrigated land, because they are mostly grown on the slopes of the hills, and they require a continuous flow of water, especially by the rain-fed water. They don't require waterlogged condition. So that's all actually. I mean.
So I'll be talking about one interesting feature under the India data portal, which is Jumpstart India at ISB. So I'll just share my screen. So we have one Jumpstart India tab under the India data portal. So what Jumpstart India talks about is basically an initiative started at ISB just right after the COVID lockdown was induced, and it is an effort on our part to make public data available and not just monitor the COVID cases in the country. So it is a portal for journalists, researchers, NGOs, administrators, and others just to visualize information, data, and knowledge related to high frequency indicators. Since we cannot wait for data for like 3 to 6 months or even 1 year to find out the impact of the pandemic or the stimulus that was given by the government, so HFI, which is the high frequency indicators, caters to this need of finding out what is happening in the economy in almost real time. So, like as we saw that the GDP numbers for the first quarter of the year 2020-2021 came around at the end of say August or say start of September. So it would be very difficult to take any quick action at such a later stage. So high frequency indicators caters to this need, and we can get to know actually what is happening in the economy in almost real time and take quick actions to recover basically. So we have data available at daily frequency and we have data available at monthly frequency. For the daily, we have 8 indicators available, and for monthly, we have 13 indicators. So I'll just show the website. So this is basically how it looks. So these are all the daily level data available. There are 8 indicators, and then we have monthly level data available. There are 13 indicators that we can see. So now, what are the daily indicators? So we have data available for Aadhaar transactions. So Aadhaar transaction basically contains data on the total Aadhaar transactions, which includes the Aadhaar-based authentications and the eKYC transactions. The agriculture markets data contains the economic value, which is like basically calculated as the average price of a crop multiplied by the quantity that is coming to the APMC mandi, that is the agriculture produce market committee. The air quality basically tells us about the vertical column density or the concentration of the nitrogen dioxide or sulfur dioxide gas or ozone level. These are basically some kind of proxy indicators for the economic activities happening in the nation. So digital payment data, we have the number of transactions that occur through different options of digital payments, that is RTGS, NEFT, UPI, NATC, and etc. And of course, we have the COVID data, that is the total new cases that are coming up every day, the deaths, and the number of people that have recovered. We also have data for electricity supply, which consists of the peak hour supply and the actual energy supply to meet the electricity demand during the peak period. We have fertilizer sales data, the quantity sold, and the number of transactions that are happening. And we have Manrega data, which contains data on the work demanded, work provided, and the total daily expenditure under the scheme. Now moving forward to the monthly indicators, we have data on company registrations, which is basically the number of new limited liability partnerships or new companies that have been registered under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Then digital payment data, this is the same as the daily data, but then this has been aggregated at a monthly level. We have e-way bills data, which is basically the electronic invoice data of the interstate movement of goods, basically of value more than 50,000. We have data on foreign direct investments. We have data on foreign portfolio investments. Now, these data on foreign portfolio investments are further divided at sectoral level, as we can see on the website. So we have data available for different sectors, as we can see over here. So now, going forward, we have data on formal employment. These are basically new subscribers in EPFO, ESI, and NPS. EPFO is basically Employee Provident Fund and Employee State Insurance, and NPS is basically National Pension Scheme. So this is basically a proxy of number of new people that are getting employed and getting added into these organizations. And of course, we have data on GST collections, which is basically CGST, SGST, and IGST, and also we have data for cess. Other indicators that we have under monthly is the health data, which contains data on the number of inpatients and outpatients across all hospitals in the health management information system. We have data on industrial activity, which is basically index of industrial productions. And then we again have data of Manrega, which has been aggregated at a monthly level. Then we have petroleum consumption data, which contains data on the quantity of LPG and diesel sold by oil companies and consumption through direct imports for private parties. We have also data for railway freight, which is basically the revenue, freight loading of cement, iron, steel, containers, food grains, fertilizers, etc. by Indian Railways in million tons. We have data available for vehicle registration, which contains data for two-wheelers and three-wheelers vehicle registration that has happened in the Vahan portal, or say registrations for the light motor vehicle or heavy motor vehicle, which has happened at the Vahan portal.
As Atif has already mentioned, so we have information available at both daily and monthly frequency. Right now we have 8 daily frequency, 8 data set that are at daily frequency and around 13 at monthly frequency. It's not just about the temporal frequency that we are talking about. We are trying to make the information available at highest spatial resolution as well. So we have information that are varying from district, state, and at national India level as well. Few indicators like air quality data, the information is available at city level. So we can make use of each of this spatial resolution along with the temporal availability to better understand the varying phenomena. I would like to just go through few of the indicators and see how well we can visualize the particular information. Right now, what we are seeing here is the data set fertilizer sales, in which we have 2 indicators listed, which is quantity sold and the transaction. When I click on the quantity sold, the visualization that's coming up here in map and a line chart is that the map shows the average quantity of the fertilizer sales on the 20th November 2020, which is 2010 which is 2010,000 metric tons all across India. If you look at the spatial variation of the fertilizer sales, the quantity of fertilizer sales, we can see that Uttar Pradesh is the highest, followed by Madhya Pradesh and then Rajasthan. So this map let us see the spatial variation of that particular indicator that we are looking at. So right now, this is the fertilizer, the quantity of fertilizer sales. All of these indicators that are listed here can be visualized in this particular map as well. At the same time, if you want to see how this particular indicator was performing over the time, which is the temporal variation of the particular indicator, the right graph shows the same thing, which is how over the time, which is like starting from August to November, this is how that particular indicator performed. We can extend the timeline of this indicator by either choosing this range tab or using this time slider to extend it from the initial days of 2020. So right now what we are seeing is that from 2020 January onwards till the latest date, this is how this particular indicator performs. It's always useful, or it always makes sense comparing all the indicators that we are looking at with the previous year, so that we know what's the current year status compared to the last year. In high frequency indicator portal, we have this option to do that. So if you use this last year option, the same dataset indicator for the last year is visible here. We can see here, for example, during the lockdown period, which was end of March, and there was a large dip on the fertilizer sales. But just after in the second week of April onwards, it started gaining its momentum, and it even crossed last year's quantities of sales, which means that, which was one of the major news which was reported during that lockdown period. So this kind of inference or insights can be made, or we can get it through this kind of comparative visuals. And another way is that if if we want to compare between two states or any of the other administrative units, we can make use of this particular option of selecting so that their individual profiles will be visible on the graph. So right now what I'm doing is that I'm on the map, the value for India, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh are shown in different colors. If I just hide the value for India, the variation of that particular indicator is visible here. You can see that Madhya Pradesh, if you compare Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh was always higher in terms of the quantity of fertilizer sales, but when it comes to July, even the difference was not much. This is information available at district level as well. So if you want to visualize the district level information, there is an option to zoom into that particular geographic unit, the highest spatial resolution. So we can see the district level variation of the quantity of fertilizer sales across the time and the particular day. The same comparison can be done for this particular administrative units as well. If we select multiple districts, so we can select till maximum of 4 administrative units so that the visuals are not cluttered. It's much more easier to compare. Right now what we are seeing here is for the quantities of fertilizer sales. At the same time, if we want to compare it with the fertilizer transaction, we have an option to add multiple data card, so that if I just have to change the indicator name. So here I'm selecting the transaction. For the same set of selection that I have made earlier, this is how it's looking for. Use the size, then you can see it here. This is how the temporal profile of the fertilizer sales and the transaction look like. Similar way, like we have limitation of the selection in the administrative units, you can add until 4 data cards for the ease of comparison. I will reset and I will show you a few more data set. One of the important data set that we have here is the air quality data. So as Atif has already mentioned, which is a proxy for economic activity in our urban centers. So we have 3 indicators that are available on the air quality data, which are nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and sulfur dioxide, and their concentrations are given here. So here in the first level of in the map, what we can see is the major state capitals and their profile. Here, if I extend the timeline for Delhi, the nitrogen dioxide concentration starting from 2020 till November 4 is visible here. If I compare it with this last year observation, we can see that during the lockdown period, there was a large decline in the nitrogen dioxide pollution or concentration, which means the effect that has the economic activities were lower during that lockdown period, resulting in the reduction in nitrogen dioxide concentration. So these kind of insight are something that we would like to give you through these kind of functionalities that we have here at the high frequency portal. It's not just the state capitals or the state city, these major cities that we have available. We have cities till district level, district capital are also there. So if you zoom in to each of these administrative unit, the further smaller cities are also available. All the comparison that I have shown you earlier for the fertilizer data can be done for air quality as well. It's just that the spatial resolution that the particular indicator is visible is at city level. If I can compare with the nitrogen dioxide with ozone by adding another card and by just changing the indicator list, just add a few more cards so that, yeah, this will be the layout which we will get if we add a maximum of 4 cards. So each of the indicators can be compared here. Anyway, So I would like to show you another visual for the monthly indicator, one of the indicators that are in monthly frequency. So whatever comparison that we have done, I have shown you earlier for that particular fertilizer sales and the air quality data. All these combinations of functionalities are available for each of the indicators. We can make use of that and come up with fruitful information or insights. I think the intention is already conveyed. So we can make use of these functionalities to come up with the visuals like this. And we have an option to export the data from the portal, which is like you can see all the underlying data by clicking this particular 3 lines. You can see the underlying data. You can download the data. Also, you can download the visuals that's visible here in this particular portal. I think that's it.
Avik, there is a question for you
Yes,
on
sure.
the chat. Hello,
Okay.
Avik sir, can you please tell us as a student how to develop public policy skills with the help of data analytics? That's from Amit Solanki.
What I can tell briefly is that the India Data Portal is an effort in that direction. And then we have several data events about how data and evidence can play an important role in public policy. At ISB, we conduct courses of those nature. We often have some public lectures on that, where me and then Professor this India Data Portal they deliver other sessions on those aspects, so which are very interesting aspects. So this is something that I think over practice you will learn how data is used in public policy. But India Data Portal is a effort in that direction.